Welcome back to a new video, everyone. My name is Elof Lind, and today I'm going to teach you how to do the tail whip. Okay, so first thing you need to know about the tail whip is that it's kind of a technical trick, and today I'm going to teach you a step-by-step process you can take to avoid some of the slams that I had to take learning this trick. So let's dive into it. Okay, so step number one, most of you probably understand this, but I thought I'd mention it anyways. I ride with a braking gyro, so my bars and my bike can spin as many laps as I wanted to in the air without getting tangled in with braking wires or stuff like that. So what you want to make sure is, if you don't have a gyro or if you don't ride brakeless, you want to make sure that your braking cable or wire can go around one full lap. Otherwise you're going to stop in the middle of the tail whip, and that could be kind of awkward. Another thing that is really good and effective to have on your bike before you start kicking the bike around in the air is one of those. It's called a crank stopper, and what it does, it literally stops the cranks from spinning in the air, so it's easier to find them once you kick the bike around. Alright, and the third thing you want to figure out before you start practicing the tail whip is which direction to spin the bike towards. And in my case, I'm a left foot forward rider. I want to kick my bike to the right, to the left, but to the right. Does it make sense? But yeah, that's the normal way how to do it, but if it feels like completely unnatural, you could do it the goofy way as well, which is to kick towards your back foot. If you figured out these things, you're on a good way and you're ready to start learning how to do the tail whip. Let's dive into it. Alright, so the first thing you want to figure out in the tail whip is the arm motion in it, and what you do is you literally do like a circle with the arms, somehow like this. And how you want to do that in the most safe way is to start on the ground, just literally stand next to your bike and start spinning it around on the ground. And after a while you will get the feeling of like how this will feel in the air. Alright, and once you figure out how to do the rotation with the arms, step two, and actually how I learned it back in the days, is to lay on the back on the floor and do tail whips. Like imagining doing tail whips and just like spin the bike around and try to catch the pedals while on the back. Like, you're probably going to be like a bit unbalanced doing that, because you kind of need to like figure out how to hold the bike properly for it to like get around the full lap. Really emphasize on this. If you like really looking to learn how to do the tail whip, make sure you do like a ton of practice on this, because this really helps. Once you get familiar and like comfortable laying on the back and doing the tail whip and catching the pedals and understand the motion, how to do the tail with the arms, I would recommend going to either a bank or a fly out, similar to this one, which is like a kicker. This is like a box jump, but you can just jump on top of the box jump and start just kicking the bike. You don't even have to do that much with the arms in the beginning, but just start kicking it around and like land next to the bike, just to start to understand how like the bike will move and feel in the air once you start kicking it around. So I'm going to demonstrate one of those kicks and land next to the bike now. Once you start feeling comfortable kicking the bike and like starting to get a hang of the feel of the rotation, you want to start getting the bike all the way around and like try to catch the bike, obviously. In most cases, when people learn how to tail whip, they actually struggle, myself included, with catching the pedals at first, because they focus too much on catching the pedals rather than getting the tail whip all the way around. So a little pro tip here is to kick the bike and make sure the tail whip is all the way around and you like literally have the bike in between your legs before you even start considering catching the pedals. Because what happens if you try to catch the pedals before the tail whip is all the way around is that the bike is going to go around like this, and then you're going to start twisting your body towards the bike and land to the side, because you're like stressing with catching the pedals. So make sure you get the tail whip all the way around in the air, and then much rather land with the bike between the legs than catching the pedals first, if you can't separate getting the tail whip around and catching the pedals. The next thing I would do, if you're not like super ballsy and comfortable already, is to do the tail whips and just land with the feet next to the frame on both sides and not even think about catching the pedals before you can do that motion properly. Okay, so the last and final step in learning this, besides landing on the pedals, because the pedals you're gonna have to figure that part out for yourself, because it just comes with practice and time and repetition doing it. Stay hungry for it and like don't give up on learning it, because this is a trick that takes a lot of people a lot of time. But yeah, another little pro tip before we wrap up today's video is that if you have a rear brake, it's a good idea to use it in the air, because what it does is it stops the rear wheel, obviously because it's a rear brake, but it stops the rear wheel from spinning. And when the wheel is spinning, it actually gets heavier in the air because of aerodynamics somehow. Yeah. So use the rear brake and it's gonna come around way easier than if you don't use it. That's it for today's video. Thank you all for tuning in, and let me know how it goes for you with the tail whip in the comments. And if you have any other questions, just hit me up on Instagram or in the comments below, and I'm gonna try and answer every single one of you. So yeah, peace out and see you in the next one. Trying to put the face to the name. I'm in flex mode with the best though.